Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. How are we all doing? And today we're going to be talking about the Manchester United versus Arsenal game. And I know, I talked about Manchester United in the last one with the Anthony signing for 85 million, and it didn't do that well until the last couple of days. So I thought it's just by coincidence, to be honest with you, that I ended up talking about Manchester United in 2 videos in a row. So do apologise, but it is what it is, I suppose. So yeah, Manchester United won 3-1 against Arsenal. This is their first. You know, when you talk about the league and how competitive it is, and some people say that it isn't that competitive because Man City have won it 4 of the last 5 seasons, and how can that not be a Farmers League? You talk about the Premier League, don't you? The managers in it and how competitive each individual game is, and how every team can beat any team, can't they? It's not just about who wins a league, because obviously there's a lot of money involved and there's a lot of money invested, and you know, Man City have won it 4 times out of the last 5, but every team could feasibly beat any other team, and that's probably why they call it the most competitive league in the country, and well, that's obvious, isn't it? But in the world as well. So when you talk about Ten Hag, who came from Ajax, and Arteta, who's a relatively unknown manager in terms of competitions and trophies, but he's still an elite manager. And at the end of the day, this is Arsenal's first properly competitive game, you'd say. It's their first big test anyway, that like I'd say. And I feel like they fell down at the first hurdle. There's a lot to talk about in this game though, so guys, if you want to quickly leave a like and a subscribe on this page, that'd be cool. And also, if you want to leave a comment below on points in this game that I've raised. For a Super Sunday, it was a pretty good game, and it feels like at some point either team could have won this game. It could have gone to either team. It was on a coin flip essentially. It's just, I mean, I was a bit abrasive with how I spoke about Arsenal just that they fell at the first hurdle, but it was seriously unlucky that they didn't get the 3 points, because when you talk about the first chance that Martinelli had, threw on goal and he scored it, it reminds me of that Torres goal a few seasons ago when they won 4-1 at United. 10 years ago, that Eriksen sort of challenge from Odegaard would have been allowed, but because of the new VAR and the new system that VAR seems to have implemented on the game, that sort of challenge just isn't allowed anymore. He nicked it straight away, but any tackle from behind now seems like a foul, doesn't it? Which is a shame, because Martinelli, the composure he showed for such a young player, is quality. I mean, but we talk about the player who got fouled, didn't we? Just Eriksen, who I thought, alongside Fernandes, who showing his former self, showing his former form that he had before Ronaldo came, and now that Ronaldo's sort of out of the team, he's sort of showing that what the player he could have been, and he was involved in every single goal. He was involved in most of the play, wasn't he, in terms of attacks, and most of the teams don't like him, which is probably a good sign, to be honest with you. He's a bit of a S-house, isn't he, in terms of how he complains and stuff like that. But for United, he's the sort of player that you need right now, you know, someone who can show the quality on the pitch as well as the sort of other side of it, you know, the sort of the side that the little nuance of football that only players that have played on the pitch seem to know how to do. The sort of play that fans like and rivals hate, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. But Eriksen, you know, like I said, he was a part in all 3 goals, and what a signing, by the way. He's on a free from Brentford. I mean, we didn't know he was going to be this good, did we? He was incisive with his passing, and he was quick with the passing as well through the lines. Something that United haven't had from the CDM role, and he's playing through the lines, which, you know, when you had McTominay and Fred together, they seem to be the same sort of player. And for the last 3 years under Solskjaer, it just hasn't worked, has it? And finally, you have someone there who can actually pick a pass out and thread it through the needle, as people say. It makes United look like more of a team that actually know how to play football, rather than a team that's just getting by and having big names. They seem more of a cohesive unit, and it must be good to see for United's standpoint, because it is early on for Ten Hag, and right at the start, it did look like a bit of a mess, didn't it? But this is an evolution, isn't it? It's not going to happen overnight. It's a football club that needs to be dealt with over a few years rather than just a quick fix. And Ten Hag seems to be the sort of manager that allows the time to progress slowly rather than something that's going to be a quick one, like the bog standard people we could probably mention, the interim bosses, etc. And it has been a mess for United over the last few seasons, with Ralph Rangnick being the cherry on top, it seems, over the last 6 months, which is insane. Rashford again, by the way, I need to speak about him because I feel like he's not had the best of couple of years, has he? Other than off the field, he's showing the sort of person he can be off the field. And I think most people want him to be the player he is off the field as well as on the field, because before that he was amazing, but he has had his injuries, which has cost him his sort of place in the team and his confidence. And underscore Solskjaer, sorry, he hasn't seemed to be the player that we thought he could be. Essentially, he thought he could be a world beater at this point, and last season especially. I mean, he's on 3 goals already this season, but what I will say about this Rashford season so far is he back? Is he actually back, United fans? Are we getting a bit ahead of ourselves? Because he has scored 3 goals against 2 amazing teams in Arsenal and Liverpool. But there is a common denominator between them 2 teams, isn't there? The fact that they both play high lines, and will Rashford play better when there is a low block against them rather than the high line of Arsenal and the high line of Liverpool? Because that's the sort of player he is. We all know his pace is his best quality, as well as his composure in the final third with his shooting and his power. When there's when there's a low block, will he be allowed to run in behind? No. So this is where Ten Hag needs to coach him properly in terms of how he's going to adapt to that sort of system, and I'm sure he will. I'm sure Rashford's good enough to know how to do that, but we're yet to see that this season. And we're sort of fed the 3 goals this season. There's a good return, but it's against 2 teams with a high line and almost on a counter attack. And like I said at the start of the video, it could have been either Arsenal or Manchester United. Martinelli scores and it goes 1-0 Arsenal. It's a completely different game, and it could have been. And also the fact that United had such a low block for 40 minutes or so. It was all Arsenal for the start of the second half until Manchester United scored that second goal. Saka scored, and they did deserve it. What I will say for Arsenal is you lost today, and it's your first loss of the season against your first test, but you're looking like a better team completely than last season, and you're also in Europe this season, and there's a lot of games coming on thick and fast, isn't there? And you've got a better team than you did last season. It's always, for both teams, I would say, so far, it's looking good and it's looking promising, even though United had that poor start. But a couple of questions I've got now. Is Marcus Rashford back? Who was your man of the match? Because I would say it was Eriksen, but let me know if anybody else was your man of the match in this game. Or Arsenal the team that we think they could be, or are they just another team that's sort of going to finish 5th or 6th? Like I said, it could have. I think in the overall in this game, I think it deserved to be a draw, but that's the way of football, isn't it? So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know what your thoughts on the game below. Let me know if you think Marcus Rashford is back or not. And like the video, subscribe, comment below, like I said, and I'll see you later. Peace.